Hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let me see who's here first. Connie Balmer! Thank you so much for being here first. Thank you. Love you too. Thank you very much. Okay, let me just make sure you all can hear me. Okay, there we go. You can hear me. Great. Very good. Okay. Close a couple of windows because I got too much stuff open. That doesn't sound weird. Okay. Get rid of that. All right. And almost there. Okay. Let me see who else is here. All right. Lady Trillion. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks a trillion, by the way. And Ingrid Soares, Mary H., Marcy Foreman, BZ23, Fancy, Emma D., Noreen Bengali, Lady, is that Metatrons? B. Martin, thank you. Arlene, Janice Goodrich, Nubian Queen, Emerald Derek, hello. Thank you for being here. Tao, or is it Taiwo? Thank you so much for being here. Oh, is it Saturday for you? It's still Friday for me. Well, happy Saturday to you and happy Friday to everybody in the Western Hemisphere. Wow, that just reminds me what an international audience this is. Very, very cool. Love that. Robin Hyde, hello. Joyce Yvette Davis, thank you for being here. So, hey, BW. I'm going to scroll all the way down here. Sela C. All right. Okay. Perlina Answer, Chosen One. Little Mac. All right, very good. Sandra Gonzalez. All right, Chupadilly. Very cool. Thank you for being here. All right, well, with that, let me just get the step in here. All right. Oh, let me just go ahead and open up another screen so I can see what you guys are seeing. Don't want to miss anything. I didn't do a short video last night, one of my pre-recorded videos. I'm having fun doing those, but I didn't do one last night. So there's no new food truck video. That's okay. I'll make up one. I will think of something. I always do. All right. Now I can see what you guys are seeing. Oh, I'm so glad I did that. Marcy Foreman, thank you for 3 months membership. Thank you very much. Love you, Baron and Royal Sussex. Thank you very much. See, something told me. Marcy, I don't know. It's so weird. We have this connection. Something said, open up another. Hey, Lydia. Hi, Lydia. Lydia Washington is here, everyone. Let's see here. RH, thank you so much for the PayPal, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. happy Friday to you, or happy Saturday if you're in the Eastern Hemisphere, as I have found out. So thank you very much. Hey, Lydia. Um, I love you and I'm praying for you. Bless you, um, and everything else. Okay. I almost got that out of my system. Oh, man. You're no good. You're no good. You're no good. Baron, you're no good. I'm gonna say it again. You're no good. You're no good. I just have a twisted sense of humor. That's all. Y'all don't pay me no attention. Don't pay me any attention. Marcy Foreman, let's see. Mercy says, Baron, even Kate Spanions want nothing to do with her fashion. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Thank you so much for the super chat. Those old Kate Bunions, they don't like stilettos. They don't like high heels. They don't like cheap shoes. Those old Kate Bunions. Yes, as a matter of fact, those Middleton Bunions go back so far. There's actually old Negro spirituals um, that they used to sing about those old Kate Bunions. They keep on growing. They keep on growing. They keep on showing those old Kate Bunions. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to make me disappear. And so there was a letter from SmartWorks, actually, a letter to SmartWorks from the Duchess of Sussex. A week ago, we met with our client champions to celebrate their new role. During the welcome event, our CEO read a letter from our patron, Megan, the Duchess of Sussex, who shared her personal congratulations to our client champions. Megan says, I've always been proud to be the patron of this charity because clients are given so much more than just a wardrobe for their interviews. They are also given skills and confidence that can last a lifetime. Know that for every moment you invest in being a client champion, you are investing in the future of women. You have limitless potential to create positive change, and there are countless women who will benefit from your support. Megan, the Duchess of Sussex. How beautiful. Megan is just brilliant. Her letter writing skills are impeccable. And that's one reason why so many people love Megan. You cannot overestimate the power of a handwritten letter. Letter writing is a skill that I'm afraid has been lost on some of the newer generations, but people who from the past or influenced by people from the past know that it is a very powerful thing to have a handwritten note in your hand signed by the author of that note. It's a gesture that is one of polite society and very smart people too. So if you're not a letter writer, which I'm not either, I'll text you. Uh, but if you're not a letter writer, then you won't be able to experience those same connections like that. Prolific letter writers, they are very successful people. So thank you so much, Duchess of Sussex. And then take a look here. Spotify layoffs are latest sign of struggles in podcast business. Streaming company plans to focus on partnerships with top broadcasters, including Joe Rogan and Emma Chamberlain. Um, you know, I when you think about where things are right now, is in terms of podcasts. And by the way, Petal, the prosecutor, did an amazing job explaining this. So I'm not even going to try because it was of such detail. I should have been taking notes, but um, out of respect for Petal, I would never do that. But it's one of those reasons why I say Petal is the prosecutor, because she can really get into some details and um, find those threads that connect so many people in so many situations. So I'm always in awe of that. Takes a lot of skill to do that, and the fact that Petal is, I think she works wherever she works. I don't know what she does, but Petal's very hardworking, so I just cannot help but admire the dedication. Let's see. Nadia Morgan says, I've already deleted my Spotify account today. I've seen a rash of people saying that. Um, and I don't blame anybody, because just like with so many things, including the royal family, the presence of the Duchess of Sussex brings people into places and spaces that otherwise would be very void or sparsely populated. So you you have to expect a bit of a backlash if you are a company or group or organization, and suddenly the Sussexes, and in particular Meghan, is on the other side of it, or no longer affiliated with it. Then of course there will be some backlash. So I don't have a paid account. I haven't decided to rid myself of the account, only because the Archetypes is still there. So it is a personal choice that one must make. So I won't tell anybody what to do, but as they say, vote your conscience. So if your conscience leads you in one direction or the other, I say go with that, because if you don't stand for something, you'll end up married to Camilla Parker Bowles. So that's just something to think about. Or was it, if you don't have any values? I can't remember which it was. Either one is equally shady, I think. What a shady mood I'm in today. Here comes the shade. Do 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 do. Here comes the shade, I say. Let's see. Arnett McCluskey says, Evening, Baron and Squaddies. Looking forward to tonight's podcast. You are all keeping my company while I'm at work. Your updates are more current and relevant than the trash they put out there here in the UK. Well, thank you so much, Arnett, and thank you for including us in your work. Thank you very much. I'm always so glad to hear that. It is like the most flattering thing to know that I am in different spaces and places, thanks to Royal Sussex, that otherwise I would have never been. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much. Okay. And then, of course, the photos that the Fail used as they gleefully told the story about the Sussexes and Spotify parting ways. I'll say this much as I cannot stand that rag, thank you for these beautiful images of our Duchess looking absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. So if you're going to if you're going to be featured in a story by the Daily Fail, you may as well look your absolute best. And I think these are gorgeous images. So um, whatever is going on with the Spotify deal. Yes, they've parted ways, and I am to understand it was an amicable parting of ways. And these things happen all the time, as Paddle so ably told us earlier. And in the entertainment business, it's just the way it is. Now, Megan, having auditioned who knows how many times for this role and that role, only to be told that she looks too ethnic, or that we were looking for someone darker, we were looking for someone taller. She is used to adapting to situations, so this is not such a big hardship for her, I'm sure, because she's used to having to, take care of business. So that is what she's going to do. So I don't feel anxious about it at all. I know that there is an attempt by the derangers and people in the media to paint this image of the Sussexes on the verge of collapse. But may I remind those haters, I don't have to tell you guys this, but may I remind those haters that the Sussexes have sold more products. um, Megan, even before becoming a member of the royal family, sold products even without endorsing products, even without any affiliation to products. Talk about Oprah's favorite things. What about the Duchess of Sussex's favorite things? How many times has that happened? So I would say until we see the Sussexes in a situation where that is their only and I repeat, their only source of income, I say worry not. I wish they would do some endorsements, but right now that is not where they want to be. They are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and they are showing great respect to their roles and as members of the royal family, even if they are not working members of the royal family. They have been very, very respectful. And I'm going to say again, they have not said or done anything outside of the precedents that have been set by other members of the family. That includes Charles III with his book, Charles III with his interviews, and so on. So they have not put a foot wrong, that they have spoken out about family and how the press tries to make so much out of it. It is not outside of the realm of history that these things have happened. It has happened before. It will happen again. Fergie has spoken about family. And of course, even if you go back to the Duke of Windsor, he wrote a book. He wrote a book. So there's all of this and products. Those estates, what is it? Didn't the Queen have a gin? Didn't they have a gin that they were selling or continue to sell? They have plenty products in their gift shops and on some of their estates. So that is nothing new. So if the Sussexes decides to sell anything commercially, which I do not think is their intentions at any time in the near future, I would be glad for it, because it is another example of their likeness and their images being used to sell things for other people, and they don't get anything for it. So I would like to see them get something for it. Elaine Parker, 21 months? Are you serious? Oh my goodness. Elaine Parker, let me see, between you and Church Nelly, I think you two probably, and perhaps Lydia. Yeah, because Lydia was the one that told me I should get the memberships going. But yeah, so that is extraordinary. Thank you so much, and thank you for being a great moderator. Thank you again. So yeah, that is extraordinary. 21. Where did 21 months go? That doesn't even seem possible. Wow. Thank you for that. I'm looking at the number and I'm just trying to process it. V. Bram says Megan was Spotify's biggest moneymaker, so you can be sure whatever is going on means something big is in the works for the Sussexes. I have no doubt about that. I have no doubt about that. They are the most influential couple in the world. They're nobody talks about Joe and Jill Biden. Nobody's talking about any heads of states as couples more than the Sussexes are being referred to, good or bad. I'm just saying they do have a public image. Now, I don't like the negative stories over and over again, but when they do positive things, it trends for days. So their future is very bankable. Their brand is solid. And of course, the biggest consumers, or one of the big consumer groups, of course, is very young people, the young, or yeah, the young, the millennials. They are very influential, and we are living in an information age. The Sussexes are not even on social media. If they were on social media, could you imagine? Now, they took a big step back away from social media for obvious reasons, because it has become a ocean of hate, not a sea of hate, but an ocean. If they chose to go back to social media, if they decided to strike up some partnerships with products, and I'm just saying if, again, that is not their intention, they are honoring their commitment and their titles. Whatever anybody says, they have not put a foot wrong. So, either way, whatever they choose to do, I will be here to support them. So, matters not to me. I figure the best thing to do is to follow their lead, not to try to guide, not to assume anything. Follow their lead. And if they decide that they want to do something different, I am here for them. So, just to let you know, guys, it's not the horrible situation that they're trying to paint in the tabloid media. They have more options than there are days in a month, or days in a year. They have so many more options than so many other people. So they have a brand like no other. Everybody with a public profile has a brand, and their brand is solid. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Thank you for the super sticker. So yeah, I I I've watched this parade of woe from not from the squatties, but this pretense of shock, and even a hint of this is the end of it for the Sussexes from the tabloid media. And I'm just like, gosh, you're trying to put them away already, aren't you? They are holding all the cards. They are. So don't you dare try to count them out. Oh man, it's just nuts. It is just nuts. Joy Amor, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Rachel Sun says Brit media wants them to fail, so they lie and exaggerate, hoping it comes true. Yeah, just like they keep trying to say Harry and Meghan are not popular. Harry and Meghan are not loved. And then, of course, we see Harry at that event the other day. As much as they tried to destroy his image with that which they know is so important to him, the military, and they didn't leave a mark on him, not in the least bit. He is still as popular as ever. So that didn't work out. That was a big miss. Let me see here. Where is that? Ah, there it is right there. Okay. Let's just take a little reminder, shall we?
So, no, they're not going to roll over for SOCOM. They're going to fight all the way through. And, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the teams to click.
And our special guest in the house for the gold medal match, the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, enjoying sitting volleyball action here at the Warrior Games Challenge.
Let me see here. Oh, this is, oh my goodness, yeah. I could see Harry is having a terrible time. How have they turned against him? Oh my goodness, nobody's paying any attention to him. He's talking to himself. He's sitting in a corner. He's not walking with a 4-star general. No. And you know, if the dogs take to you, you're in. Yeah, I can see why they are frothing at the mouth with excitement at how far Harry has fallen. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is terrible. Poor Harry. It has never been so bad for him. Ever. Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah. I guess I should pay more attention to the tabloid media. They seem to know better than anybody. Yeah. Okay. And so there you have it. And don't forget what she said. Thank you, Prince Harry, and everyone else who came to support our wounded warriors. Did you get that? And everyone else. Prince Harry and everyone else. Okay, so yeah, I think that settles it. Yeah, poor Harry. Might as well start packing. Didn't work out here in America. Maybe Canada will take you back. Oh boy, how they do bore me. Anyway, so there you go. Now, I have a soundbite for you guys. This was on that Dreadful Man show, which is always better when he's not there. It says a lot about him, doesn't it? That show is always better if he's not present. Everything's better with Blue Bonnet on it. Oh my goodness, I just had another baby boomer flashback. Everything's better with Blue Bonnet on it. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. Speaking of Mother Nature, where is Church Nellie? Where is Church Nellie, speaking of Mother Nature? Everything's better with Blue Bonnet on it. Okay, enters the soundbite before I sing another commercial.
Carol from Berkshire, what's your views on this? Have we lost interest in Harry and Meghan? Have they fallen out of favour?
No, you haven't, because here they are again being discussed on television. So it's quite clear, without Harry and Meghan's name, there is very little else to discuss about the royal family. Let's be honest, we all know the others are extremely boring. Mm-hmm. And actually, even if Harry didn't write his book Spare, there is a lot of us with common sense who could see what the British media were doing. It's quite obvious that there's always in-house fighting from all the palaces, and it's quite clear that the palaces for years, since the days of Diana, been sharing information. So people aren't silly. What happens is production team always throws out some question about Harry and Meghan, waiting for negativity. But people get it. People know that Harry's not been treated right.
Listen, we don't always get negativity. Sometimes with Carol, we get individuals like yourself calling up and taking part in the conversation.
Yeah, no, I know you get positive comments as well.
I'm wondering.
I know you get positive comments, but what I'm saying is, it's the question sometimes, have people fallen out with Harry and Meghan, which could trigger the hate which we've just seen from the guy. I have to agree with Narinda on this. Harry and Meghan are loved around the world. Trust.
Carol, I object to you saying, firstly, that it is hate, but secondly, they could always.
Let's not pretend it's not a build-up of hate. Let's be real.
They could always.
The toxic media, the toxic TV, it's been relentless on Harry and Meghan. And yet Philip Schofield was just in the news for 2 weeks, and how many people were saying, get off his back, it could be suicidal for him.
Well,
it's
Carol,
really
we also discussed Philip Schofield on this programme. But secondly, if they stop,
Hold on, we're talking over each other. Carol, if you just let Crystal come back, Philly.
if they stopped perhaps slagging off the family, making themselves the ringmasters in the middle of this media circus which they thrive on, maybe all of.
Carol from Berkshire, what's your views on this? Have we lost interest in Harry and Meghan? Have they fallen out of favour?
Okay, so God bless Carol. Carol told the truth. If the Sussexes were really fallen out of favor, we wouldn't be talking about them. We would not be talking about them. You talk about them all the time because they haven't fallen out of favor. You wouldn't have a show without Harry and Meghan. It's a conversation that draws people in. And for the tabloid media, for these rinky-dink talk shows, that is bread and butter. That is their remodeled kitchen. That is their new car. That is a college fund. They are supporting a lot of people, unwillingly, of course, supporting a lot of people that are making so much money by adding them into a conversation, even when it has nothing to do with them. The handful of people that have cried out, Meghan changed after she got with Harry, those handful of people that are willing to put their names, or should I say put her name out there when they're starting a new project, when they have signed on to this, when they have written a book or whatever it is, they always know that the easiest way to get some press is to mention Rachel Meghan Markle. And if you say anything negative or disparaging, if you lie, whatever you do, just put her name in there and all eyes are going to turn in that direction, which is why I say again and again and again, the Sussexes have a very, very bright future ahead of them. They have a very bankable future ahead of them. They haven't done like, let's say, the Middletons, who allegedly had some sweetheart car deal where they were able to get cars, not a car, but several cars at rock bottom prices, new cars, just so that they could show people that this family associated with the royal family are driving these particular cars. That's the kind of stuff they were doing, or opening up some pathetic, ridiculous party pieces businesses in the U.S., trying to hawk that stuff over here like anybody wants it because of their association with the royal family. And they can't even get that right. That's what gets me, is that with the strength of having a child married into the royal family, you can't monetize that. Your daughter's the future queen and your company has gone belly up. Anyway, Meghan is the moment. The Sussexes, they have a great deal of power. They are certainly not on some decline or downward trajectory like the tabloid media is trying to portray. That is certainly not the case. They have all the cards. All they have to do is decide what they want to do and when they want to do it, and there will be someone there. Sussex Defender says, so Archwell, Harry and Meghan signed a Spotify deal with the possibility of an out since they were figuring themselves out. They signed with William Morris, what's it, Enterprise? No, something else, which coincides with their plans. So why is the narrative canceled? Exactly. You always, especially if you have someone skilled representing you, you always have to have an out, because if there is, for lack of a better word, artistic differences, if there are creative differences, you certainly do not want to be stuck in a situation. Now, if I'm correct, Peto alluded to the fact that there was some type of connection from Spotify to something to do with Rupert Murdoch, or some company that Rupert Murdoch has some investment. And that could very well have been the reason. And let's not forget about the Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had one opinion about the pandemic, and the Sussexes, although they've never expressed any ideas about who should and should not have vaccine or whatever, their whole thing was about access to vaccine, to make sure that there was access so that anyone who wanted the vaccine would have access to it, so that poorer countries who did not have the weight of a United States could have the vaccine. That was the whole thing. They never pushed it on anyone, although there was a great deal of misinformation out there in the airways. And I'm not saying that Joe Rogan's information was wrong. I'm just saying I didn't agree with it, and Harry and Meghan were not comfortable with it and even spoke out about it. So that could have been one of the reasons. I don't know that if I was, say, Harry or Meghan, that I would want to be in the same platform with someone like a Joe Rogan if there are differences that I find worrisome. So there are other platforms, and I'm sure, given the fact that, and I don't even need to tell you that the Archetypes was huge. It wasn't that long ago that Archetypes knocked Joe Rogan off of his throne that he sat on for 3 years. For 3 years, Joe Rogan commanded the Spotify world for 3 years. And a little podcast called Archetypes came along and became number one for several weeks, was it? Knocking Joe Rogan off of his throne, not just in the US, but in all markets. It dominated. So nobody is going to turn their back on those numbers. You can't. You can't. Those numbers speak for itself. Thank you, Sussex Defender. Those numbers speak for itself. So this idea that because they parted ways from Spotify means that something wasn't right. I saw this one hate person who has a hate channel who said that, well, I'm not surprised. I don't know who would be clamoring to work with her. Just about anybody who wants to make money. Just about anybody who wants to make money, that's who. That's who would be clamoring and continue to clamor. I'm like, wow, they really are trying to sell people on this notion that the Archetypes was a failure. They're really trying to sell people on that. Spotify laid off, what was it, some 200 people. And they did that, when was that? Was that in March or May? But this is something that has gone across all platforms. They have had to reorganize. And it'd be different if it was just Spotify, but even Netflix, they've had to reorganize. Everybody is assessing the future because these are very new. This isn't NBC. It's not, what is NBC, 75 years old? Television has been around since the late 40s, but these podcast platforms are very new. Even YouTube, it's getting up there, but it's still rather new to most people. So we don't know. There's going to be a lot of adjustments in these in these medias. There's going to be a lot of adjustments, and this is just one of them. So it is not a big deal. Okay, let me see here. Reba Henderson says they cut you off if you say anything positive. They survive on hate like pizza. Carol said the rest of them is boring, so they leave off Harry and Meghan. Yeah, exactly. They are boring. They are boring, and they really, the royal family in particular, they really sold themselves short by chasing the Sussexes out of town. Although I have to say, I don't know if they would have survived if the Sussexes were still there, because the direction that Meghan was heading made Harry nervous, because he knew that family of his was not going to take it easy watching Meghan grow in popularity. They couldn't take it. That bothered them, that she comes into the family a superstar. Too bright, too beautiful, too poised, too elegant, too many of all of those adjectives that would worry some very mediocre people in that royal family. Very worrying. None of them have any type of charisma outside of Prince Harry. None of them have any charisma. None of them. They are boring, and they only exist because of the hate that has been created against the Sussexes. They can feed off of that hate. They can be the alternative. It's the old Coke and Pepsi. Which will you have? Thank you, Reba Henderson. Let's see. Lily Mack says, here in the States, we know lies, if repeated often enough, become seen as the truth. Harry and Meghan give so much to charity and vets that the gossip and lies can't offset their actions. That is very that's very real. That is very, very real. That is the truth. That in spite of everything that they're trying to throw at them, and they are very wise, the royal family, to play up to that minority of people. And I'm talking about the right wingers, the hate squads. They're very wise to play up to a bunch of racist people. And the reason why I say they're very wise to do that is because that is a core group of supporters that they can count on. Because if they're driven by their hate of people of color, if they are driven by their hate of anybody who is considered too liberal and God, I hate the word woke now, but they have it in for a whole mass of society that are so opposed to their beliefs. So using that platform of hate is wise for the royal family, although it may be their undoing, but they're very smart to do that, because without that, they don't really have anything. They don't really have anything. They don't have support. They have the hate and contempt from the MAGA people and the Brexiteers. That is where the power comes from, is from the hate, not from love, not from admiration, certainly not from their talents. That's something you don't find in the royal family. It's interesting that Charles, being the patriarch of the family, is probably the hardest working compared to any of them. And that even includes Princess Anne. Anne shows up, for sure she shows up. But when it comes to actually having achievements, Charles has achieved things. Charles has found a non-political way to make a name for himself, even if it was with other people's money. The Prince's Trust is very popular, and it has done a lot with other people's money, using his celebrity as a member of the royal family. So aside from him, any other living royals have anything else that they can point to? Not a one. Just consider where Charles was by age 40 compared to where William is at age 40. Or is he 41? Just consider the difference. Charles did achieve a lot. William has done nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Nothing. He managed to try to fit in with some of the charities that his mother had, although he's not very visible. He doesn't raise a lot of money. And he's been talking about the earth, which is what? The same thing his father was doing, right? He's following in his father's footsteps. And still, he has not made a name for himself where the environment is concerned because of his blatant hypocrisy, using an 8 million pound helicopter every place he goes. So, not necessarily a profile in courage, if you ask me. So, what has he got? Nothing. The Sussexes are achievers. They're high achievers. Harry is not the big dum-dum that everybody tried to make him out to be. They tried to convince him that he wasn't smart. They tried to convince him that he would never marry, that he would never do anything. Don't get too excited about having a family. And despite all the traps that they set for Harry, all of those traps that they set out there for him, having the tabloid media trying to convince him that he was a big nothing. Look at where he is today. He owns a beautiful home in California. He has 2 beautiful children, a wife that's an equal through and through. And of course, let us not forget Doria. It's a blessing to have Doria as a mother-in-law, a blessing. So everything that they try to make impossible for him is his reality. Everything that they tried to block, that's his world. Not successful. The royal family was not successful in trying to destroy him, trying to ruin him, trying to control him like some type of circus act. And it didn't work. That's got to be surprising that the usual game did not work. That tool that they have used against Margaret, the same thing that they did with that sick old man. Even Philip, they did, and poor Philip actually had a little backbone until he got in with that lot. And then slowly he became a creature of their making. It's really too bad. Who knows what he could have achieved but for being with that lot. Lorna Williams says, from what I have been reading, Spotify signed them and other celebrities because they wish to solidify and expand their access on other media platforms with their exclusive content. And also, Lorna, along with that, let us not forget that Spotify signed a lot of big names because of their names. Because of their names. And maybe it was Spotify, just maybe it was Spotify who led them into believing that they could do certain things, that they could make a difference the way they wanted to make a difference, only for Spotify to have other ideas or maybe a change of their direction that just did not jive with the Sussexes or with the Obamas and a few other people that have left. So if a company changes direction, I don't care long as the check clears. Long as that check clears, you can change whatever direction you want. Just make sure the check clears, and then you can have a change of heart, a change of faith, a change of whatever, long as the check clears. So nobody knows the language of their contract. Nobody knows for sure how much was involved with their contract. The numbers that we have heard is based on what other people have made. And that was the rounded figure that was used to demonstrate how much the Sussexes were making. But nobody knows for sure. Let's see. Lady T says, it's how they try to say they are the ones putting themselves out there when they never know what they are doing or where they will show up at. They find out along with everyone else. Amazing. Yes, you get a bail for that, Lady T. That is so true. We'll find out. They'll find out. Everybody else will find out when they are ready for the world to know. Because as we know, there are no leaks in Montecito. They'll find out in due time. How do they say it? It's the anointed time, not the appointed time. That's when they will find out. At the anointed time. Hallelujah. Okay. Oh, let me take that away. There we go. And get back on this. Go to the next one. So check this out. As we have been speculating that there has been some projection, people have tried to put the Sussexes relationship in question, whether or not the Sussexes are this or that. That is what they have been saying. And you know they are usually wrong. When you take a look at this headline, Princess of PDA, how formal Kate can't just resist cozying up to Prince William in public and has even given him a cheeky tap on the bottom. Well, number one, as far as that's concerned, we've had our ideas about that. After all, it was William who went all the way to Poland for a pulled pork sandwich. And anybody who would fly for hours across continental Europe for a pulled pork sandwich, well, I'm just not surprised that they are able to respond to a tap on the bottom. That doesn't that doesn't surprise me at all. And then, of course, there was those salacious stories that everybody had about William and Kate and what William may be into. Nothing to discuss at the dinner hour, I'm sure. But I'm just not surprised. But the thing is, we all know this article is only there because they listen to what the Sussex Squad is saying, and they have listened to what other people have been saying about the future or the lack thereof, about the future of their relationship and how unlikely it is. And so, in order to throw people off, they decide to put this story out here again. This is not the first time that they've made a big story about the so-called PDAs. So, as you can see in one of the so-called public displays of affection, should I say, you can see that William is doing something more customary, like leaning away from her. Please do not touch me. Seems to be his usual body language. Legs says Baldy is leaning away hard in one of those pics. Absolutely, absolutely. Which, I have a whole collection of William with his, body language recoiling away from Kate's so-called affection. So yeah, I think that this is in response to the fact that even though they have tried to say all of these things about the Sussexes relationship, we all know who's actually in trouble. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lex. Yeah, everybody knows who's in trouble. Now, here's a little bit of a different topic. I haven't done my break beat in a while. Let me get the break beat out. Where's my break beat? Okay. Dutch House of Orange got $600 million from colonies study funds. This was in Reuters today. Apparently, one of the big come-ups for the House of Orange was the slave trade. Amsterdam, it says June 16th, the Netherlands House of Orange profited by around 3 million guilders, or $600 million in modern terms, from Dutch colonies in the 1675 to the 1770 period. A study commissioned by the government has found the State and Slavery Study, which examines the role of the Dutch government and related institutions in colonial slavery and the after effect, was presented to Dutch Parliament on Thursday. It included the details on the House of Orange. Princes of the time notably received 3% of the Dutch East India Company profits from the spice trade in modern Indonesia, despite not having been a shareholder. The study is part of a wider reconsideration of the country's colonial past, including efforts to return looted art and current struggles with racism. King Willem-Alexander is expected to deliver an apology on July 1st, which marks the 150th anniversary of the Dutch abolition of slavery in his former colonies. Prime Minister Mark Rutte apologized on behalf of the Dutch state for its involvement in the slave trade in December. So, if you can take a look at the photo on the right, on the bottom, that is how important slave trade was to the people of the Netherlands, to the royal family, the House of Orange. When they were gifted this carriage, this golden state carriage, which is not exactly the name of it, you'll notice the controversy is not that it's a very posh gold leafed carriage, but the artwork, the panels on the side, as beautiful as the work is, I mean, it is rendered in the most lovely way, but take a closer look at it. The golden coach is now the subject of a current debate caused by the painting on the left side of the vehicle. If you can see there, very clearly, it depicts scenes of commerce due to human bondage. And the heroine in this image, that maiden with the ship and shield, that is actually supposed to represent the Netherlands. That is the mother of the Netherlands. And to her ample bosoms is brought all of the wealth of the empire. And of course, showing great deference to their white masters, you can see how the slaves are actually of lower status in the image. Their clothes are tattered and dull compared to the bright, vivid colors of the slave holders and masters and such. So, yeah, not a lot there that you could not decipher, even if you don't really know. VS! And you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. Anastasia says at least the Dutch king is going to apologize for what his ancestors did. Yeah, I like Willem Alexander. I think he's a very progressive thinker. And it is very much a step in the right direction. And of course, as these things go, it will never be enough to satisfy everybody. But on the one hand, we can't scream, we need to have these conversations. And then, of course, there's always going to be that core group of people that are going to say that it's too little too late, you're not doing enough. Where's my 40 acres and a mule, and so on. So it's a lot when you consider that not everybody loves the House of Orange in the Netherlands, and politically, well, it is playing with fire, but it has to be done if they are to have a future where the Netherlands will be seen as a progressive country as opposed to just another colonial empire that has dwindled into, this little small country again. So it's necessary, and the conversation needs to be had. And it may not be comfortable for everyone, but so much of the wealth that you see in Amsterdam and other cities around the Netherlands, a lot of that comes from the slave trade. A lot of it comes from the slave trade. It comes from their colonial era. And so when they created this carriage, it was a celebration of that wealth. So Willem Alexander has officially retired the carriage because he said he realizes that it's a problem for a lot of people. Right here, the controversial image featured on the vehicle is called Tribute from the Colonies and depicts Blacks and Asian people, one of whom is kneeling, offering goods, including cocoa and sugarcane, to a seated young white woman who symbolizes the Netherlands. Seated next to her is a man offering a book to a young boy, which the work painted Nicholas van der Way said in 1896 was intended to portray the Netherlands' gift of civilization to its colonies. And what better way to get a young man to go on the sea, to navigate the world? What a better way to convince them that they are doing the work of God than to tell them that we're going to these savages and these uncivilized societies, and we're bringing knowledge, we're bringing trade, and we're going to take some people back with us. What better way to do that? So let's see, where's the one with the book? Oh, there he is right there. You can see that, yes, the man is offering a book to the boy so that the boy can learn the ways of Europe. Yeah, there you go. Looks like I see bananas, sugarcane, and some other stuff I can't make out. Yeah, but there's a lot of symbolism going on there. A lot. And that's the way they saw the world. That is the way they saw the world. And for the common laborer to see this carriage going up the street, that is something that instilled this sense of pride. I think that a lot of the serfs, if you will, a lot of the peasants, they felt this enormous sense of pride with the idea that they are in a country that has conquered the world. They don't see much of the profits, if any, but it was a sense of pride. And by giving them that sense of pride, it made it much easier for them to go out there and commit genocides and such. Yep, what a way to make a living. Very interesting. So here it says the Dutch House of Orange got 600. Did I do that one already? No, it was this one. There it is. The Netherlands King Willem-Alexander has announced that the Dutch royals will cease using the historic golden carriage amid a debate over slavery links. Critics say that one side of the horse-drawn carriage, called de Gouden Coat, is decorated with an image that glorifies the country's colonial past. Out of use since 2015, the carriage has traditionally been used to carry Dutch monarchs to the opening of Parliament. The move comes amid an ongoing debate in the country over its history. So, the carriage is on display in a museum, just like the Confederate flag, just like those statues. Some of these things need to be retired because they are offensive to a lot of people, and I just cannot see the point of having something like this in use. And I'm not saying that it ought to be destroyed. I'm not even saying that it should be altered, because it is part of the history. And you definitely don't want to try to erase history, but it just doesn't need to be glorified and used as an object of admiration to open Parliament. So better to stick it away somewhere. Tremendously favored. Okay. Hi, Baron. First time I attended live Saturday morning here. God bless all the squatties. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Oh, okay. So yeah, that is what happened with that. And of course, I love when they had the Invictus Games in The Hague, and the tabloids were making this big fuss about Harry not being invited and not staying with the Dutch royal family, which is so ridiculous, you guys. It's so ridiculous. But is anything that could cause people to look at Harry in a negative way. Harry is working. He's not there on a state visit. He's not there to socialize with the Dutch royal family. He's working for Invictus. Why would he stay? Why would he stay with the Dutch royal family? That is ridiculous. But cruelty is the point. Try to make Harry look as bad or as pathetic or ridiculous as possible. And that seems to excite certain haters out there. So, anyway, it didn't work because it wasn't long before King Willem Alexander actually came to the event. And as you know, the House of Orange, they really know how to party. So, when he showed up, he showed out, and it was a good time to be had by everyone. So, that little thing, that little stunt they tried to pull with that, oh, how pathetic Harry is, it didn't work. It was another failed attempt to try to embarrass him. So, wah wah. All right. Hey, B10, I didn't know you were here. Okay, who else is here? Chell says Prince Harry is using her mind than to be succumbed to inner trappings of such controversial topics. Slavery is no joke. Okay, thank you so much for your comment. Harry and Meghan are workers, working parents, gifted working parents who don't what is that? Okay. I'm not even going to try that one, but it's parasite, right? Live off the state. Paris. Thank you, Truth and Dilly. I know it comes from parasite. I just can't get it out. Parasitically. Anyway, but that is the root of the word. They're not parasites. Exactly. Thank you so much. Okay, let me take a couple more comments and then I'm going to move on to the next. What is next? Let me see. Why don't I just do that then? Okay, Harry and Meghan composer Gil Talmy explains how the score enhances themes of compassion, fear, systematic and social issues. So today in Variety, the composer of the sounds track for the Harry and Meghan docuseries spoke about how that evolved. He said, naturally, the subject of the royalty and the monarchy lends itself to classical background with a lot of neoclassical piano strings and orchestra. The composer detailed how he combined the Duke's past and present through the incorporation of dark electronics and modular and analog synths, all in an effort to help convey the challenges and dark undercurrent that Harry and Meghan have been facing. And that is from the composer. So that is how they managed to write the score, was to basically take into consideration Harry's birth in a royal household, and of course the Duchess of Sussex marrying into that household, and all of the trials and tribulations that they have faced since then. And so, as you know, every time you see like some television show, at least here in America, this happens all the time. If it has something to do with royalty, you always hear chords and strings and pianos and violins as a backdrop to the scene. It sets the mood. Anytime there's something palatial, like for instance, Dynasty, that was an aristocratic family in America. Now, they weren't real aristocrats, but the theme of the show was the Carrington family. Well, what sounds more aristocratic than that, right? Blake Carrington. So the Carrington family, wealthy, prestigious family, and Blake Carrington, this what do they call those oil people, a Hellcat or whatever. So Blake Carrington made his fortune, built this beautiful house, and bought antiques and everything. And ba 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 ba. I mean, it had all of those things. A major domo. I had never heard of a major domo, but if you guys remember, Blake Carrington's household had a major domo, not the butler, but the major domo. And of course, all of the other trappings that any English aristocrat would probably find necessary in order to fulfill the mission of the family. So they had all of those things. And of course, it opened up with that classical music. And so that's exactly what he used as an inspiration. But then, of course, he had to throw those dark tones in there because he wanted to remind you that, yes, it may be a gilded life, but then there's a lot of trouble. So it was like a gilded cage where they were trapped and there was a lot of people plotting against them. So I think he did a good job. I mean, I didn't realize that it was actually a new piece of music. I thought it was just something that came from someplace else. So that just goes to show that they did a great job. So that is how that happened. VS, I'm sorry, it moved. There we go. Let me try again. There we go. VS says, oh, they're going to hate themselves when we know her next move. Exactly. Because you know it's going to be something big. And wait, what if they announce it? What if they announce it for Trooping the Colors? I mean, they already got Suits airing that day. What if they announce the next thing for Trooping the Colors? We'll just have to wait and see. And if not that, there's always Charles' actual birth date. I mean, that's just the day they observe the monarch's birthday, but his birthday is in November. He's one of those shady Scorpios. What is it, November 14th, I think? So, yeah. Other than that, I don't know what else is on the calendar for the royals. There's no marriage, state funeral. That may happen whether they're ready or not. But aside from that, there's nothing coming up. You can only get so much mileage out of the early years. The early years is starting to seem very late. But thank you so much, VS. And by the way, you guys, if you go to the top of the chat, there is a link for VS Speaks Royally. Remember to support these Sussex-friendly platforms. And trust me, you will find VS's voice very soothing. Multitask, cook, or just relax and learn a little bit about what's going on in the world. Go to VS. Anytime I need to ground myself, VS is always the place to go. So thank you so much, VS. Yeah, those Scorpios, they sting. Oh gosh, them Scorpios are trouble. You know, Johnny Carson was a Scorpio, and that's why he was such a dreadful person. Johnny Carson was mean. Okay, so let's get to the controversy. There is a piece of jewelry that is missing from the royal collection. This is said to be worth, I keep hearing different numbers, but the most common is around 60 million pounds. Or is it $60 million? But it's missing. When they tried to do an inventory of the jewels after the queen died, somehow this one came up missing. Now, the last person known to have worn it was this person. Yes, the Princess of Wales, the newly minted Princess of Wales, was the last person known to wear that necklace. And as you can see right there in The Guardian, when they were crapping all over the royal family during the coronation, official jewelry gifts to royals worth 80 billion pounds are not in national collection. Palace refusing to explain why official state gifts worn by Princess of Wales and Camilla are not in the royal collection. They refuse. They won't discuss it. Now, whether or not these personally belong to the queen and now the king, I'm not clear about that because there's always the crown estate properties. So the royals, in theory, are not supposed to just receive expensive things and that's the end of it. It is cataloged and inventoried routinely. And so here you have this big piece of jewelry along with a couple of other pieces that seems to have come up missing. Oh, I see the Scorpios are speaking out, huh? Well, Anna Wintour and I share the same birthday, and she's a Scorpio. I also share the same birthday with Charles Bronson and Dolph Lundgren and a few other famous people. The singer Adamant, or how about the singer Lulu? Those schoolgirl days of telling tales and biting nails are gone. Yes, that Lulu. We share a birthday. So yeah, there's a couple of nutty people that share the same birthday. There's who is it? Dennis Miller. I don't like him no more. And of course Roseanne Barr. I can't stand her either. Um can you believe that they share the same birthday and that's my birthday too? That explains a lot, doesn't it? Oh well. Yes, those Scorpios. It's not whether or not they're going to get even, it's when will they get even? And will you know that they got even? Like, how would you know that nobody's talking to you because of that Scorpio that you crossed? How would you know that the police are on your doorstep but for the fact you crossed the Scorpio? Or how would you know where your car is? Who put that Snicker bar in your gas tank? I don't know. Maybe I crossed the Scorpio. You see what I mean? Yeah, be nice to the Scorpios. And Scorpios are very loyal. Scorpios are the most loyal people in the zodiac. If you love a Scorpio, you have rock solid protection. But if you cross them, I say leave the country. If you cross them, go find your passport and put as much space as you can between yourself and the Scorpio. Got it? You get me? Put some space between yourself and the Scorpio. That I should put that on a t-shirt. Put as much space as you can between yourself and an angry Scorpio. Yeah, Charles Bronson and I share the same birthday. It makes sense. Why do you guys think I'm always like, oh, come on, Anna Wintour, she's just doing her job? Why do you think I'm always saying that? She's just doing her job. No, she just wants the best for Vogue. Yeah, yeah, I know. She crapped all over that person. Yes, I know, I know. But she's just doing her job. And she was born on November 3rd. She's just doing her job. So, I don't know. I'm not saying, should I say, I don't want to make it seem like I am accusing anybody of anything, but we have heard a rash of stories about how the Middletons are going through a lot of financial trouble. It doesn't mean anything. The fact that a very large, shiny, expensive piece of jewelry just happens to have not been accounted for since the Queen died. And of course, nobody is assuming that people took advantage of the distraction of a state funeral to do anything nefarious. It just so happens to be that the person whose family, the Shady Bunch, that's in a lot of trouble are the same people that she's related to. And she just happens to be the last person that we saw wearing that necklace. But one has nothing to do with the other. So I don't want anyone to walk away from Royal Sussex assuming the worst, like, for instance, that there was anything unusual that happened, that somebody may have been wired a large sum of money in the days since none of that stuff happened, because if that was the case, we wouldn't be talking about how broke they are now, would we? Right? Right. So, and I'm don't know that there's a statute of limitations when it comes to heirloom jewelry. I don't know that there's a statute of limitations. So I say nobody jump to a conclusion. There's nothing shady going on. Nothing to look at here, folks. Nothing to look at. Even if Carol Middleton's mouth is all twisted up like she's having a stroke or something, it doesn't mean that anything unusual has happened where the royal jewelry collection is concerned. So I hate to disabuse any one of their notions, but all of this is quite circumstantial and probably not true. Now, I haven't seen Uncle Gary in a while, but all of this is circumstantial and likely one has nothing to do with the other. Okay? So let's just put that to bed and not think about it. Stop thinking about the shiny necklace that hasn't been accounted for since the Queen died. Now, of course, there is the Bunyan Gate. The Bunyan Gate seems to have taken the social media by storm. As we spoke about it yesterday, Kate seems to be in a spot of bother because of her, bunion. There's a close-up. Someone asked for a close-up yesterday. All I could say is if she is having issues, maybe it's because it's the way she walks in her shoes. I would recommend, and if somebody can forward this information to the Kensington Palace, I think that if she straightens her feet out and stops swinging her arms so, deeply, maybe that will guide her feet in the right direction. But I can't help but think that it's the way she's standing is probably what's causing the bunions. You're not supposed to put so much pressure on one location like that. You're not supposed to walk on the sides of your feet. You don't want people to think you're a troglodyte, so you're not supposed to walk on the sides of your feet like that. So if there's any way you all can forward this information to Kensington Palace, I would be much obliged. Now, of course, as you know, whenever these controversies occur, we always reach out to Kensington Palace because in the spirit of fairness and fair play, we want to get their side of the story.
Obviously, it'd be, I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to, obviously to this day, and going forward and things. It is, it's a wonderful family. The members who I've met have achieved a lot, and very inspirational. So yeah, I do.
I can see I'm not the only one full of shade. Leg says she should have worn tights that day. Oh, you know what? I just noticed that ever since the Queen has gone to the great beyond, there's dark nail varnish, nail polish for you Americans. Nobody's wearing tights, right? I think on one occasion when the Queen was under the weather, didn't Ford Fiesta show up at Westminster Abbey in a bathrobe? So yeah, everybody's getting kind of loosey-goosey. You got people wearing jumpsuits. It's a free-for-all in terms of fashion. What happened to royal decorum and protocol? Pam Porter says, I think she could have her shoes custom made. There's our designers who have wide widths. Like the idea that Kitty has pain trying to cosplay Meghan. Yeah, she's trying to wear those shoes that Meghan puts on her delicate little dainty feet. Well, you can't put those big platypus feet inside of those dainty shoes that Megan's wearing. It's just not feasible. So yeah, if she stopped trying to cosplay, but yeah, her Kate's kind of tall, right? And then she kind of walks like a lorry driver sometimes. So trying to wear a stiletto and walking like a truck driver, it just doesn't jive. You put too much pressure on certain points of the foot that otherwise shouldn't receive that kind of friction. I know she needs to stick to those wedgies that she loves to wear. So yeah, I think it's has to do with posture or something like that, because we have clear evidence right here that during certain ceremonies she doesn't really use good posture. Just like sometimes she has that little tick with her neck or whatever, that little tick where her head is off to one side. So yeah, she doesn't have it easy, I suppose. So anyway, we're not here to hurt. We're just here to try to help by giving some sage advice and some shade. Yes, we're here to give some sage advice and some shade, just to help out, because that's how we are. See what I mean? And if you notice, maybe, okay, if your head is going that way, then maybe it puts too much pressure in the other direction. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. If your head is going that way, then maybe it puts too much, let's see, yeah, that's the one. Maybe it puts too much pressure on certain areas. You know how they say that if your feet are not comfortable, then it kind of throws off your chi or your feng shui. And so maybe it's throwing her chi off, that she's putting so much pressure on different areas of her very ample feet. Oh man. Yeah, so I'm just, I'm trying to help out as best I can, because that's how I am. I try to help people. So, okay. I think that's it. I think that's it. I think we have given some sound input, and now it's just up to one of the courtiers that just so happens to listen to Royal Sussex to pass it on. Amen. Amen. Yeah, so pass it on. No shade. There's only love here. So we're just trying to help. Because that's how we are. We help people. I wonder if they ever found that missing orange tabby, the one that escaped from Kensington Palace. I was thinking about that the other day, as what happened to the orange tabby. Anyway, they'll find it. Let me see the orange tabby. Oh, is this it? No, that's not it. I don't see it. I don't know what I did with that one. Okay. Because, I wanted to throw that little shade in there since we're at it, but oh well, I can't find it. All right, so let's go to the next one then, shall we? Now, someone, one of the squatties, it may have been a squatty. I don't know who it was actually. Oh, thank you so much, LH, for the Cash App. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. So take a look here. Pittsburgh synagogue gunman found guilty of 63 counts for the 2018 rampage that left 11 Jews dead. Isn't that interesting that the appearance of the gunman seems to have altered? and leave it to the Daily Fail to get it wrong. Yeah. The Daily Fail decided to, you know, I always say they want to hurry up and get that story out there, that sometimes it is loaded with grammatical errors, spelling errors. Well, in this case, they have done a major faux pas by invoking the image of, is his name Bodega? Oh gosh, I forget his name. But this gifted actor, he was put in place not only one mistake, but two, himself and Jamie Foxx. Oh, LH, yes, I just got that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. And there's a bell for you. Thank you very much. So yeah, there you go. There you go. How about that? John Boyega, thank you so much. John Boyega. What did I call him? Bodega? Yes, he's not a New York mini mart. He is, I think he's a great actor. I think he's an amazing actor. But yeah, so they used his photo and Jamie Foxx to depict that of the synagogue gunman. How strange. Let me see, Baron. She should have pretty up her feet, so AK didn't he? Thank you, Ann Fu. Oh man. Well, maybe that's why she hasn't been doing any royal duty any further than just a few miles from the house, so she can hurry up and get home and soak her feet. Maybe that's why, because according to Celibici, she hasn't actually veered too far away from home these last few calls that she's made. Now, this is the actual gunman. I noticed the resemblance. Can you see the resemblance? Let me see. All three of them are men. And let me see. They all have 2 ears, 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. So yeah, I see the resemblance now. I see the resemblance. Yeah. Okay. There you go. So that is how this mistake was made, is because of the resemblance. So chances are nothing will come of this until the lawyers get involved. But yeah, that is how they got it confused, was because of the let me see. Oh, that's so weird. It only just now made a sound. It didn't make a sound before, but thank you again, LH. Thank you again. All right. So yeah, that is very awkward. How could you possibly put 2 black men instead of a white man, or DM just assume that that a black man did it? Did the Daily Mail? Well, that is why the person who said right here. Actually, I don't have the caption, but yeah, the person said screenshot it before they take it down. Screenshot before they take it down. And that's what they did. So fortunately, because of the fast thinking of some of the people in the squad, at least for sure we'll have a permanent record of it. Yeah, well, the story that they were trying to tell before that mistake they made, if it was a mistake, is that it was something to do with John Boyega not having seen Jamie Foxx since the mystery illness or something to that effect. So And I guess when they were putting the stories together, possibly, allegedly, they saw that there was a crime. It involved guns and murder and stuff. So they just said, this is close enough. And they just hit send. Oh, man. Well, just like that time Megan was supposed to be at that vigil where the police were arresting people. And when Kate showed up, they put Megan's name on the police report. So that for the permanent record, if there was any instance where someone would try to remember who was the royal at that event, they could put the blame on Megan. Isn't that something? Megan's, 5,000 miles away. And hey, Claire Kane, I didn't know you were here. Megan's 5,000 miles away, and they put her name on a police report that should have said Duchess of Cambridge. That was a incident where women were being arrested during the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, they said people should not gather, stay home. And so Kate shows up with her royal protection officers. And out of everybody there, she seemed to be the only one that wasn't wearing a face mask, just to make sure that everybody would know that she was there. And because it later became a police incident, they decided, okay, no, she wasn't there. Let's just say Megan was there. Interesting. Okay, so that is the actual gunman. Now, Rachel Maddow is one of the smartest people you'll ever see. Highly, highly intelligent, hardworking. As you can see, Stanford University, she has a bachelor's and in it's a bachelor's in public policy. And Oxford University, she has a PhD in political science. So that is her credentials. If you don't think education matters, then you probably get your news from the dropouts. Well, there you go. Rush Limbaugh. I used to call him Rush Windbag all the time. Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck, all three of which are college dropouts. Nothing wrong with that, of course. I mean, Bill Gates is a college dropout. And he's like, the wealthiest man or one of the wealthiest men in the world, and he's a dropout. But when you consider that one of those dropouts at the bottom decided to challenge the governor of California, oh my goodness, did he hand them their behind. Sean Hannity, if you guys haven't seen it, and I don't have a clip to share with you, Sean Hannity was trying to crap all over the state of California by saying things like, oh, look at how many people are leaving California. You have a decline in population. And why did he say that? Honey, when I tell you that Gavin Newsom laid down the law, he told them, he said, listen, I hear you saying how many people have gone from California to Florida, but I noticed you don't mention how many people from Florida have gone to California. I noticed you didn't mention the fact that the fastest growing economy in all 50 United States is California. And also, California's economy very soon may be larger than that of Germany. He even said, eat your heart out, Germany. So I believe right now, California is the 5th largest economy in the world, because he said that they will take the place of Germany, which is the 4th largest. Now, I hear people go back and forth between 4th and 5th. So according to Gavin Newsom, California, that economic engine, is the 5th. and very soon will take the place of Germany, which is the largest economy in all of Europe. Okay? So very soon they are going to replace Germany in terms of the size of their economy. And let me tell you something, Germany ain't no punk. Germany is a very, very wealthy nation of somewhat 80, 88 million people. I think it's also the largest population in Europe, isn't it? So they're big. They're big. Or Western Europe. Anyway, they're a big economy, and they got a lot of money. Very, very wealthy country. And for California to even be in competition with Germany lets you know that it means just as much to be governor of California as it is to be the leader of just about any nation in the world. And so Sean Hannity is trying to embarrass Gavin Newsom. He's trying to point out all of these deficiencies with the state of California. Like Rod Stewart, did you guys know that weirdo Rod Stewart says that he's leaving California for various reasons, and he's going to do his permanent residence now in the back in Britain. And you know what I say? Bye. Bye. Rod Stewart can take all of his snottiness with him. There are still plenty of people every year, not just all over the United States, but all over the world, that would love to take advantage of California's opportunities. And there are still plenty of them. So I was so glad that Gavin Newsom put him in his place. Let's see. Sophie Charlotte, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Wow, Newsom, yes, love. Mic drop, Hannity, back to school you go. Should have listened to your mom. Learn your lesson. Exactly. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed for him. He was trying to humiliate Gavin Newsom by explaining how everything is so dire and so awful with California. One of the reasons why California has such a large homeless population is because of the favorable weather, number one. And number two, it is a very large state. I think California has the largest population in the United States. Am I correct about that? It is a very large state. They have more electoral votes than anybody else. What do they have, like 55 electoral votes? So this idea that California is about to fracture from the fault line and slide into the ocean is just simply not true. They're not on some huge decline. Just because some people have left, just think of how many more people want to be there. Yeah. Nice try, Sean. Nice try, but you picked the wrong person. And that's just like the other day when this interview first came out, and he was trying to talk down the Democrats. And then Gavin Newsom started going through a list of accomplishments of the Biden administration that would prove to be equally embarrassing to Sean Hannity. He just needs to shut up, or otherwise just go back to the Fox News echo chamber because you're going to get hurt, little boy. You are going to get hurt. You are messing with the wrong person. Gavin Newsom is not the governor of California just because of those chiseled good looks, not just because of that incredible thick mane of hair. It's because he's smart, he's talented, respected. Yes, Susie, Mom, I am too. Yeah, Just because he has those looks directly out of central casting doesn't mean that he's not capable. Yes, he could have played Superman or a war hero or something like that. He could have been one of the Avengers, but for all intent and purposes, he is an Avenger. So there you go. Oh man, yeah. So it's a lot of people, big name people that are selling their properties and they're getting out of California. Well, um, I think in some of the happiest nations in the world, they have high taxations and they also expect a lot of benefits from cradle to grave for those high taxes. And as much as people love to say, oh, that's socialism, it's very interesting how countries like Denmark, where you pay a lot of tax, the happiness index is one of the highest in the industrialized world. So, you take the bitter with the sweet. All right. So here you have another one of those scathing articles from the Daily Mail. This is what's going to happen to people who work from home. Now, let me read between the lines for you. As you know, a lot of companies have allowed people to work from home. And to try to rebuild the economy of Britain back to its pre-pandemic numbers, they need to get people back into the workplace. And there are some people who do not want to go back to the workplace. They'd rather work from home, and some people don't want to work at all. There are some people who have removed themselves from the job market, and not just in Britain, but everywhere. Here in the United States, a lot of companies are trying to convince people to go back to the office, and they just don't want to go. So in order to try to scare everybody, they're running this article. This is what happens when you work from home. Swollen eyes, a hunchback, and claw-like hands. What remote workers will look like by the year 2100. And I looked at this and I guess, what was I supposed to go, no, no, and scream in fear and cover my eyes? No. Well, guess what? That is not going to work. More people are working from home, and that's just the way it is. And they're never going to go back to the office. Now, some very sharp-eyed viewer or reader of the Twitter saw this and said, hunched and swollen with bulging varicose veins, scientists create grotesque model of how office workers could look in 20 years, time thanks to hours at their desk. So you're trying to say that all of these awful things are going to happen. Back in 2019, they said that in 20 years that people are going to turn into gosh, I'm trying to think. They're going to turn into Charles III. Are you trying to say that if people do not go back to the workplace, or if they spend too much time at their desk, it depends on what they're trying to tell people at the time, that they're going to turn into Charles III? Because I don't see much difference between this scenario and this scenario. Now, except for that one, I'm trying to think who looks like that. Who has those humongous hips and that droopy, I don't believe in the underwire. Oh, that's who she reminds me of. So, okay, by the year 2100, or in the next 20 years, we all are going to look like, was it Fred and Gladys? Is that their names? Fred and Gladys? We're all going to look like Fred and Gladys. in the next 20 years or in the next 80 years. That's what we're all going to look like. God help us. So there's the Daily Mail once again contradicting themselves. This was the latest scare tactic, not to be confused with the one from 2019. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. They just don't quit, do they? So there you go. By 2019, by 2039? By 2039, we're all going to look like we've been rained on, rode hard, and put away wet. This is your future if you are spending too much time at your desk. Or this is what we're going to look like by the year 2100. We're going to be slouchy and sloppy and running inside of Westminster Abbey, dragging our ladies in waiting behind us. Or we're going to slouch in the chair, and our childbearing hips are going to fill that space. And there's a lot of things that are going to happen to us if you listen to the Daily Mail. What they don't mention is that people are more fit and active because of their pursuit of quality of life than ever before. Before, yes, people worked, people led a pedestrian lifestyle, but nowadays people go to the gym, people run, people know the value of walking or biking. There are alternative ways to keep yourself fit. So don't listen to the Daily Mail. They are just doing what they usually do. They're just trying to scare people. So, and with that, you guys, I am going to give, of course, my love and respect to our queens, Doria and Diana, as per usual, which means that we are at the end of our Royal Sussex for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining. Good morning to those of you. Happy Saturday in the Eastern Hemisphere. And good evening, good night, bonsoir to all of you in the Western Hemisphere. Thank you again for being here. Also, thank you for your contributions to Royal Sussex. And thank you for having your memberships. That is always very cool. So, and with that, I will start looking for the last word. Good night, Elaine Parker. Thank you for staying up with us. Good night, Brenda Lawler. And Chiwa Obenwa, thank you for being here. Oh, you're smelling the lawsuit, huh? Good night, Squatty family. Oh, good night to you too, Gwendolyn Daniels. Compton Cali Gal, thank you for being here. Maggie Howell, bye. VS, be well. Take care, everyone. See you around. Oh, and you guys don't forget, VS, her link is at the top of the chat. So if you want to see somebody making it rain, 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 rain on me. All right. Okay, so the last word for today is oh, there we go. B. Martin says, good night, everyone. Enjoy and stay blessed. That looks like an ending to me. Thank you very much. All right, love you guys. I am going to cue the Ginger Avenger, and I will see you all. As a matter of fact, let's do our, because we always do the Ginger Avenger. We'll have to shake it up a bit and do the Madam Duchess. We'll close with Madam Duchess.